All right, so we're diving into the sovereign individual this time.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, this book has been kind of buzzing around for a while. It's all about how, like, technology is going to completely kind of reshape power and wealth in the next, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, the coming years.
Yeah, like imagine a world where you can just like pick your government like it's Netflix or like have robots in Malaysia tailor your clothes,
It's very interesting. The thing that Davidson and Rees-Mogg, the authors, what they say is that like these things aren't just fantasies.
Right.
They actually see the nation state as we know it becoming obsolete and paving the way for the rise of, sovereign individuals.
So no more like, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Right.
That's a big change.
It's a huge shift.
How do they back that up?
Yeah.
Do they think we're all going to be like, living off the grid in bunkers?
No, not quite.
Okay.
Their argument kind of hinges on this idea of megapolitics.
Megapolitics.
Which is basically just looking at the really big forces that shape societies over time.
Okay.
They're saying just like the agricultural revolution led to massive changes, the information revolution will too.
Okay, so more like farms to iPhones than farms to fallout shelters? Got it.
Yeah.
Give me an example of this mega politics thing.
Okay, well, take the Black Death in the 14th century.
Okay.
It wiped out a third of Europe's population.
Wow.
Which led to labor shortages and, weakened feudal lords.
Oh, okay.
And paved the way for more centralized states.
So they're saying like a biological event can have political and economic.
Exactly. It was a biological event, but it had massive political and economic impacts.
That's interesting because I never thought about it like that.
Right.
So are they saying that like pandemics...
Bro, hold on. It's individual freedom.
No, their point is that these large-scale events, like pandemics or technological revolutions, can disrupt existing power structures.
Oh, yeah.
They argue that information technology is doing that today by diminishing the effectiveness of traditional military force and empowering individuals with access to knowledge and resources.
Okay, I'm starting to see how they connect the dots.
Right.
But I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah.
I mean, nation states have been around forever.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be going anywhere like anytime soon.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
And the authors acknowledge that change won't happen overnight.
Okay.
But they argue that we're already seeing signs of this shift.
Okay.
Take the Knights of Malta, for example.
Okay.
It's a centuries-old order.
That issues its own passports.
Okay.
And could potentially become a microstate.
Really?
It shows how new forms of sovereignty are emerging. Even within the current system.
Okay, so it's like a little...
It's like a preview.
Yeah, a little preview.
Look, please taste.
But aren't these microstates kind of like sitting ducks?
Well,
in a world of superpowers.
Yeah, it's the big question.
Could they really thrive?
And the authors believe that technology is tilting the balance of power.
Okay.
Making it easier for smaller entities to defend themselves and exert influence.
Okay.
They point to the rise of cyber warfare.
Right.
And how a small group of hackers can disrupt a nation's infrastructure.
So it's David and Goliath.
Exactly.
In the digital age.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's shift gears for a sec and talk about the role of technology in all this.
Okay.
They seem to think it's the driving force, right?
Yeah.
Not just a tool,
right,
but like the actual engine of change.
Exactly.
Okay.
They argue that technology is often underestimated, even by experts.
Okay.
They use the example of the British dismissing Edison's light bulb as a trivial invention.
Really?
Unworthy of the attention of practical or scientific men.
Wow.
They also mention how renowned astronomers declared heavier-than-air flight impossible.
Oh, come on.
Right before the Wright brothers took off.
So they're saying we could be making similar mistakes today.
Precisely.
Underestimating the power of the tech that's right in front of us.
Exactly. They suggest we could be missing the forest for the trees.
Okay.
Focusing on the incremental advancements.
Okay.
While ignoring the potential for truly transformative breakthroughs.
That makes me think about all the hype around the metaverse a few years back.
Right.
Everyone was so focused on the VR headsets.
Yeah.
But maybe the real game changer was the underlying technology.
Exactly.
And, the blockchain that could revolutionize how we interact and transact online.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
The authors argue that we need to look beyond the hype
Okay.
and try to understand the deeper implications of these technologies.
Okay, so we've got megapolitics and technology driving us towards this world of sovereign individuals.
Yeah.
But what does that world actually look like?
Yeah.
Do we all become like digital nomads working remotely from?
They dive into some specifics.
Okay.
Like the future of work, for example, which you might find particularly relevant.
Okay.
They argue that good jobs, as we know them, with stable salaries and benefits are becoming a thing of the past.
Wait, are they saying we'll all be out of work?
Not exactly. They predict a shift towards more individualized work. Where you're essentially running your own micro business, leveraging your skills and technology to offer specialized services to a global market.
So more like entrepreneurship than unemployment.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
They believe that the information age will benefit those who are adaptable, skilled, and entrepreneurial. But it will also create challenges for those who are unable or unwilling to adapt.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if traditional companies are kind of fading, who's going to provide things like health care and Social Security?
That's where the book gets really interesting and a bit controversial. They believe that individuals will have more choice in how they access these services, opting for private solutions, community-based initiatives, or even subscription-based models for things like healthcare and security.
So it's like choosing your government a la carte.
Exactly.
Yeah, selecting the services you need instead of being locked into one size fits all.
Exactly. They argue that this individualized approach will lead to more efficient and personalized services.
I wonder if it will also lead to more inequality.
That's one of the big questions the book raises. And we'll explore that in more depth in the next part of our deep dive. Along with how this shift impacts our sense of morality and community.
Okay, so we've covered megapolitics, the power of technology, the decline of nation states, and a glimpse into the future of work. There's a lot to digest.
Absolutely. And we've only just scratched the surface of the sovereign individual. We'll be back soon to delve even deeper into the implications of these radical ideas.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
So we left off talking about a future where like work becomes more individualized and you're basically running your own show. Exciting for some, maybe a little daunting for others. But let's face it, it's not just our jobs that are in for a major makeover, right?
Absolutely.
What about like our sense of community? Our values, our whole idea of what it means to like belong, you know?
Yeah, you're hitting on a key point. Davidson and Rees-Mogg argue that the rise of the sovereign individual also challenges those traditional notions of community and morality.
Okay, so if nation states are fading, what's the new glue? Like, what holds society together? Is it just every man for himself? Some kind of digital Wild West where it's all about individual survival?
That's a concern they address head on, actually.
Okay.
They argue that, yes, traditional ties based on geography and nationality will weaken, but new forms of community will emerge. Built on shared values and interests. They call these circles of trust.
Circles of trust, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds a bit like those online groups I joined during the pandemic. Except maybe with higher stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you even build trust when, like, anyone can hide behind a screen name or a fake profile?
That's a challenge. And the authors highlight how trust and reputation will become even more valuable currencies in the information age. Think of it like online reviews, but for everything. Your skills, your reliability, your integrity.
So it's like a constant feedback loop.
Exactly.
Where your reputation precedes you. Both online and offline.
Like a digital version of those old-fashioned merchant guilds. Where your word was your bond.
Gotcha. So they're saying that these circles of trust will be crucial for, like, not just business, but...
for all aspects of life. Finding reliable healthcare providers, forming educational networks, even creating alternative social safety nets.
I can see how that could work. But what about the people who aren't so tech savvy? Or who struggle to build these online networks? Do they just fall through the cracks?
The book doesn't provide easy answers, but it does acknowledge that potential for inequality. However, it also emphasizes that technology can be a powerful tool for connecting people and building bridges across social and economic divides.
Yeah.
They believe that new forms of community will emerge, both online and offline, to support those who need it.
So community gets a digital upgrade. Got it.
Exactly.
But what about our values?
Yeah.
If the old rules no longer apply, what's the new moral compass in this world of sovereign individuals?
This is where things get really interesting.
Oh, okay.
The authors predict that traditional morality will be challenged as individual autonomy increases and those old power structures weaken.
So less do unto others and more do what's best for you.
In a way, yes.
Are we heading towards some sort of like moral free-for-all?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
They believe that a new morality will emerge based on individual responsibility and mutual respect within those circles of trust. They argue that as individuals gain more control over their lives, they'll also become more accountable for their actions.
I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're not beholden to a nation state or a traditional social hierarchy, your reputation and relationships become even more important.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't just rely on the system to protect you or bail you out.
Exactly. They suggest that in this new world, actions will speak louder than words. And your character will be judged based on your behavior within your chosen communities.
It's almost like a return to a more ancient form of morality where your tribe or your clan held you accountable.
Exactly.
But instead of being bound by blood ties, these new tribes are formed around shared values and goals.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
They believe that these new moral codes will be more fluid and adaptable, reflecting the diverse values and beliefs of individuals within these circles of trust.
So less about following a rigid set of rules and more about navigating a complex web of relationships and responsibilities.
Precisely. Gosh. They argue that this shift will require individuals to develop a strong sense of personal ethics and the ability to negotiate those different moral frameworks.
It sounds like a recipe for both freedom and conflict.
It is.
But let's be honest, isn't there always a bit of both?
Yeah.
Whenever societies undergo these big transformations.
Absolutely. And the authors don't shy away from the potential for conflict and upheaval during this transition. They predict that governments will resist this loss of power.
Yeah, of course.
And there will be pushback from those who benefit from that existing system.
So we're talking about more than just a few tweets and protests.
But potentially, yeah.
Could this get messy?
They believe there's a real possibility of social unrest and even violence as the old order crumbles. And that new one struggles to take shape. They draw parallels to historical periods, like the fall of the Roman Empire, where the breakdown of central authority led to widespread instability and conflict.
So not exactly a peaceful transition. But assuming we navigate these turbulent waters, what does a fully realized world of sovereign individuals even look like? Are we talking like utopian communes? Or gated communities for the digital elite?
The book is less about prescribing a specific outcome and more about exploring the possibilities. They believe that the future will be shaped by the choices individuals make and the communities they create. They do offer some intriguing predictions about which countries and regions will be most attractive to sovereign individuals.
So it's kind of like a global talent show with countries competing for the attention and investment of these highly skilled mobile individuals.
Exactly. They predict a brain drain from high-tax, heavily regulated countries to more business-friendly jurisdictions. They also suggest that smaller, more agile countries will be better positioned to adapt to the demands of sovereign individuals.
It makes me think about those special economic zones that popped up in Asia a few decades ago.
Exactly.
Could we see a similar trend emerge?
Maybe.
With countries creating sovereign zones to attract these digital nomads and entrepreneurs.
That's an interesting possibility.
Yeah.
They even suggest that individuals might choose to renounce their citizenship altogether, opting for a more nomadic lifestyle, untethered to any particular nation state.
talk about taking individual freedom to the extreme. But let's be realistic. I mean, most people aren't ready to ditch their passports and become global citizens just yet. What about those of us who are kind of intrigued by this idea of becoming a sovereign individual, but aren't really sure where to start?
That's a great question. And it's something we'll delve into in the final part of our deep dive. The book offers some practical advice on developing the skills and mindset needed to thrive in this emerging world.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the sovereign individual. We've talked about megapolitics, technology, like upending everything. And even the potential for both like utopian communities and, well, maybe a little chaos along the way.
A little bit of both.
But let's get down to brass tacks.
Sure.
How do you actually become a sovereign individual? Is it just like renouncing your citizenship and buying a one-way ticket to like a tropical island?
It's a bit more nuanced than that. The book emphasizes that becoming a sovereign individual isn't just about escaping the system. It's about taking control of your life, your finances, and your future. And that requires a certain mindset and skill set.
So no escaping to a deserted island just yet.
Not quite. At least not yet.
What kind of skills are we talking about?
So they argue that adaptability is key. The world's changing rapidly. And those who can learn new skills quickly and pivot when necessary will have a significant advantage. They also emphasize the importance of financial literacy, especially as decentralized finance becomes more prevalent.
So it's not enough to just be tech savvy. You need to be financially savvy, too.
Exactly.
Makes sense if you're managing your own investments, currencies, maybe even creating your own like microeconomy within your circle of trust.
Exactly.
They also stress the importance of network building, cultivating strong relationships within your chosen communities.
Trust and reputation are paramount.
In
a world where traditional institutions are losing their authority.
So it's almost like becoming a modern-day Renaissance person. Skilled in technology, finance, and like social dynamics. That all sounds pretty daunting.
It can be.
Any tips for those of us who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it all?
They provide some practical advice. They suggest focusing on what you're passionate about. And developing expertise in a specific area. They also recommend actively seeking out like-minded individuals. And building those crucial circles of trust.
So find your tribe, hone your skills, and become financially fluent. That's pretty solid advice.
It is.
Not just for aspiring sovereign individuals, but for anyone navigating today's world.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest, not everyone's thrilled about this idea. Of a world where everyone's calling their own shots.
Of course.
What about the pushback?
They acknowledge that the transition will be bumpy with potential for conflict between those clinging to the old order and those embracing the new. They suggest that individuals should be prepared for disruption and uncertainty, both economically and politically.
So batten down the hatches and buckle up.
In a way.
Any specific advice on how to weather the storm?
They emphasize the importance of diversification. Both in terms of skills and investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Spread the risk.
Exactly. They also recommend staying informed about global trends and being prepared to adapt to changing circumstances.
So stay agile, stay informed, and maybe have a backup plan or two.
It's always good to have a plan B.
Sounds like good advice.
It is.
Not just for aspiring sovereign individuals. But for anyone navigating today's rapidly changing world.
Absolutely. They believe that the individuals who thrive in this new era won't be those who resist change, but those who embrace it. Seeing it as an opportunity for growth and reinvention.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
Both hopeful and challenging. The sovereign individual isn't a sugar-coated utopia.
No.
But it does offer a vision of a future where individuals have more freedom, more responsibility, and ultimately more control over their own destinies.
It's a call to action. Urging us to become active participants in shaping this emerging world. Not passive bystanders swept along by the currents of change.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From megapolitics to microeconomies.
Right.
From circles of trust to the potential for both, like, conflict and incredible opportunity.
It's been a great discussion.
The Sovereign Individual is definitely a book that makes you think.
It does.
Challenges your assumptions. And leaves you pondering all the possibilities.
Absolutely.
So if you're ready to explore these ideas of individual sovereignty, to challenge the status quo and maybe even chart your own course in this uncharted territory, we encourage you to pick up a copy of The Sovereign Individual and start your own deep dive.
It's worth the read.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course. It's been a pleasure.